So you might hear my eggs boiling in the background. I'm about to have breakfast. And this is for the new moon in Taurus. There's actually a spread I was going to use, but I forgot to. So for this month, I'm just going to use whatever comes up intuitively. This is part of a series, so I'm doing moon wisdom. The new moon is called the seed, and the full moon will be called the harvest. Just kind of following the theme of gardening that I have on this channel. So I hope you enjoy these, and we'll see what kind of wisdom comes from this. We'll start out with this card. I choose to reinterpret my fears with a more loving perspective, and I'm going to shut off those eggs because they're going wild. Okay. Yeah. I choose to reinterpret my fears with a more loving perspective. This is kind of reminding me of the moon, so I'm going to read it. Strong, powerful forces at work here. Time to sit out and watch things unfold. Step back and find a safe space to observe. There will be time for actions later once things have settled. Immersion, number 28, which would be a 10, which would be a 1. New beginning. So the whole point of new moons, from a spiritual perspective, is that it's kind of a fresh start. It's like you get to sow the seed, and that's why I'm referring to the new moons as the seed. And it takes 6 months till the moon enters the same sign for a full moon in that sign, right? So you have a new moon in Taurus now. The full moon in Taurus will be in the time of Scorpio season, which would be around October, November. I don't know when the full moon comes out, but that will be when you start to see things that you're currently manifesting come into being. It also depends on whether you're consciously manifesting things or unconscious of it. And then it's also a good time to close out cycles during the full moon. So the new moon is kind of planting new seeds, new intentions, new ways of being. Which makes sense with the reading I just uploaded. I also want to apologize that this isn't coming out on time. Right, initiation, that's exactly what it is. So the new moon was actually last night, but I was having my own personal experience last night for, what is this? What is the 4th chakra? Is that the heart? That would be really interesting if it's the heart. So Taurus, the sign of Taurus, is ruled by Venus, which connects with the heart. It's yeah, that's the heart chakra. Really cool. So connecting with heart chakra here, and with initiation. Initiation being card number 17. Let me just see. Card 17 in the tarot. The star. Okay, so that's Aquarius. Really interesting. Okay, to me the star is all about healing. It's a time to kind of shed layers of identity, of self, of ways of perceiving ourselves in the world, and becoming more authentic and more transparent. And that's healing to you, but it's also healing to others. The heart would totally make sense with that, because the heart is kind of the space within a person where they can open up emotionally and ground as well. It can be healing the heart and activating the heart chakra can be very grounding. At least that's how I perceive it, because you're connecting to the deeper layers, to the meaning behind your connections with people, behind your experiences in life, and finding meaning in life kind of orients you and gives you kind of a bed where you feel safe enough to explore your inner realms, your inner self, your inner being, your inner truth, your inner power, your inner wisdom. An island of strong growth built from all that has gone before, a collection of learnings from many lives lived, creating a safe space for you and others to rest and take shelter. Exactly. Movement number 17. Maybe that's why I was drawn to it. So 2 17s here with the star card. What is this number? 28. 16, and 17. Interesting. And let's go to the tarot. So with Enterprise, I feel like there's a real strong desire to move things forward. It's the Three of Wands. Judgment. Things are coming back from the past, possibly needing a new reinterpretation or to be looked at more carefully, more closely. The fine print, right? Really understanding what it was that happened. It's so interesting when you have that 2020 vision and you can look back on something and things really become more clear, and then you can reintegrate old information in a new way, and that really empowers you. We have here the Emperor underneath the deck. Empowers you to tell a new story and to kind of take responsibility for the stories that you tell, right? To be the author, to be like the person who is telling the story. To really be consciously aware of that you're the one telling these stories, you're the one spinning these tales. And what do they say about you, and what kind of trajectory, what kind of possible trajectory do you have in your life with this kind of story that you're telling? And that's not to say that you should lie. That's not what I'm saying. It's about being consciously aware of how you present your story to yourself as well, because the way that we tell ourselves about who we are and who we've been our whole lives, and the purpose of our lives and why we're here, can shift a lot of things once you see things from a different light. It's a preparation, the struggle, the difficulty, the desire for something to come, to unfold. It's a preparation. It's like you're in training. You get more information. You don't really have to seek it out, though I do feel that a lot of people are seeking it out. But you're getting more information just by unfolding, by being more organically present in the world. You unfurl, you unfold, like if you think of like a flower just kind of opening up. That's what I was doing there. To the sun, and exposing deeper layers of itself, of its heart space. And that's a type of initiation, right? So you become transparent. And when I said shed, that the star is about shedding layers, I really wanted to say that it's about kind of, I don't have the word for it now, but kind of a stripping off of clothes kind of thing, like a nudity, but not literal. Yeah. You do see like a family here that's in the nude. I'm not going to show it because I know how YouTube is, but it's basically this kind of stripping away of the ego, of the false layers of the self, retelling the old stories, finding out that actually all of these hard things, all of these hard lessons, all of these difficult experiences, they weren't obstacles at all. They were preparing you for something. That was you in training. That was you like going through military training, so to speak. Rob Brezsny used to talk about this. What was it? The warrior journey? I think it was the warrior journey. There's a name for it. It's actually kind of exciting because I relate to this message. Warrior journey, like personal, something myth. let's see if I can find it. Rob Brezsny. It's not something Rob Brezsny came up with, but he talked about this a lot. That's okay. Rebranding God. I don't know. I like Rob Brezsny, but I gave him a copy of my poetry once, and he quoted it like without actually putting my name there. It kind of annoyed me. Anyways, it's all good. We're all good. We're tight. We're tight. I offered him a tarot reading, and he said yes, and then I never ended up giving him one. Find that place of deep peace within yourself when all around you is a storm. Shelter in this calm, settled place and allow it to fill you, flow from you, radiating out as you hold the space for all. Movement 16. Yeah, 16. So something about finding your inner peace allows other people to benefit from it as well. Maybe, during times of war, during times of strife, during times of personal struggle, it's not always about adding to that story, to that narrative. Sometimes it's about minimizing the narrative, taking away the parts, taking away the forms, disidentifying, and finding the truth within that defies all boxes and categories and labels and countries and forms and formulations and legal entities and all this nonsense that we live by. It just kind of takes away from our life spirit, reconnecting with spirit. And then you get the information, right? You unfurl like a flower, you open up, your heart starts to open. And there's a flower here in the heart space. She's holding the flower. I mean, it kind of looks like lettuce, but it's okay. It's a flower. And then receiving. You see all the hands? So Kabbalah means to receive, to be able to receive. The act of receiving. The act of receiving. Receiving is an act. And to be able to receive, you have to kind of shift your whole perception of self and reality, because we are living as human doings, and we're constantly doing. And being able to receive is just kind of letting go. So you retell those old stories. I choose to reinterpret my fears from a more loving perspective. Where do fears come from? I mean, I'm sure that by instinct as an animal, you have fears of things just primally, like a fear of fire or fear, But do you really have a fear of fire until you try to touch it and realize that it burns? So the past, right, is what gives your future new meaning. And when you reinterpret your past and you look at it and see it from a different perspective, your future can kind of have more possibility. Your future can seem just like a child looking at the future, right? With no concept of what it is. It's full of possibility, it's full of magic, it's full of exciting things. Now, I'm not telling you to not stay grounded, but I was saying you can ground through the heart. There's different ways to find your groundedness. And when you ground through the heart, it allows you to keep opening. It allows you to keep being transparent and to keep kind of shedding false layers. When you ground through other things in life, You can think you're grounding, but you're actually just kind of further disassociating, further disconnecting, and reinterpreting things in ways that make you feel safe, but don't necessarily help your evolution or the evolution of humanity as a whole. And we are all kind of affecting each other with our ways of perceiving and interpreting and translating experience, including, historical experiences that are currently happening on the news, right? Or in our lives. Some of us are living through history and making history. And part of making history in a way that isn't necessarily about leaving legacy, but more about changing the outcome for a better, suitable outcome for all, is about becoming more present in your life, in your body, in your mind. And that's what we're talking about here. The more present you become, and your heart can open, and you can stop identifying with old concepts, and you can start to truly live this kind of peaceful light that shines. It is about moving forward. It's not about staying stuck in the past or stuck where you are. It's about moving forward with the Three of Wands. But it's about layers and layers and layers opening. There's something that happened when I was a kid, like constantly learn the Bible. And every year we'd come back to the same stories in the Bible, and it would just be like, gosh, why am I learning this again? Like, get annoyed and tell my parents I don't have energy. Like, we keep learning the same books over and over again. My parents were like, yeah, well, you're learning it. Or maybe it was a teacher who said this, I don't know. Like, yeah, you're learning it, but there's constantly new meaning coming to it because you're older, so now you can understand other things, and you can come back to old concepts and see them from a different light. And essentially, even if you come back to an old concept, it's not the same thing anymore because you've changed. I talked about this in the shamanic initiation video. A person who you may have thought of as like an evil entity in your life is actually a shaman who's coming to teach you something, who's coming to give you training so that you can kind of let those old forms of identity go, so you can be reborn with the judgment card. And that's how new information comes out. It's like you don't actually have to do anything. You're going through life, and life is doing it for you. The only thing that I would suggest doing is opening your heart, choosing to reinterpret stories from a more loving perspective, right? Engaging, finding deep peace within yourself and radiating it outwards. Creating calm, creating shelter. That's all. It's not that hard. Okay, hope you enjoy this Taurus season, and we'll see you on the flip side.